Members of the Gupta family and President Zuma resign from Oakbay businesses over what they regard as a sustained political attack. Religious leaders reject President Jacob Zuma's apology over eNCA and want him out. It's Friday. Hello and welcome to it. You're watching eNEWSDIRECT. I'm THIS.
Good evening.
To comment on any of our stories, you can find us on Twitter and Facebook. That's at eNEWSDIRECT.
And tonight's hashtags are Oakbay and ANC Church.
And we start with this. The Gupta family and President Jacob Zuma's son have resigned from Oakbay Investments. President Zuma, Atul and Varun Gupta have cited a sustained political attack on the company as the reason for their departure. Recently, a number of local companies have ended their business relationship with the Gupta-owned companies.
The Gupta family is no stranger to controversy, and the brothers' company Oakbay Investment has been implicated.
Problem in the Gupta arrangement in South Africa was always Duduzani's involvement, because his father is the president, and the president runs a government that regulates the industries, or some of the industries, that the Guptas are involved in.
Oakbay Investments has interests in a number of companies in the mining, media and IT industries. The Gupta businesses have been under pressure since allegations emerged that the family offered ministerial posts to several ANC members, including Cebisi Jonas and Vaiki Mentor. In the past week or so, banking giants FNB, Sasfin and Absa have terminated their business relationships with the family, as has auditing firm KPMG. Oakbay says it's concerned that the jobs of more than 1,000 employees are at risk. We have come to the conclusion that it's time for the Gupta family to step down from all executive and non-executive positions. In doing this, the family hope to end the campaign against Oakbay and save all our jobs. Atul Gupta is leaving his post as non-executive chairman, his brother Varun as CEO, and President Zuma is giving up his position as non-executive director of one of the Oakbay subsidiaries.
What Duduzane has done is resign as an independent director of Shiva Uranium, which is the vehicle which houses the Gupta's mining interests, and which is regulated by the government, which made his participation in it very questionable.
Oakbay's executive committee will oversee the running of the business going forward. The company says the Gupta brothers will, however, remain shareholders. Mateo Khoripe, Johannesburg.
The National Religious Leaders Forum and the South African Council of Churches have asked the ANC to facilitate the immediate resignation of President Jacob Zuma. The interfaith groupings made the unprecedented call during a closed meeting with the ruling party today. They're also still seeking a personal meeting with Zuma to convince him to step down.
We're not confused. He is apologizing to those who are confused. We're not confused. So we had no apology to accept.
Explicit and unambiguous.
In our presentation to the African National Congress, we requested the party leadership to assist the president to resign in the best interests of the country.
The National Religious Leaders Forum and the South African Council of Churches have now formally added their voices to that of opposition parties, civil society and even sections of the ANC for President Jacob Zuma to go.
The direction that's been taken in the leadership in the country is not for the best of the nation, for our constituencies, or for the people of South Africa.
The grouping, which says they represent the widest diversity of faith communities in South Africa, added that the call was made with a heavy heart.
We are making this call and making these statements as a result of what all of the churches and various religious organizations are hearing from their constituents, and this was conveyed very clearly to the ANC that what we say is in the name of the people that we represent.
In response, the ANC said in a statement that they welcome the religious leaders' input and is looking forward to further engagement. The presidency has not responded to requests for comment. Nicholas Bauer, Johannesburg.
Traditional leaders have been warned against taking their matters to court. President Jacob Zuma has told them once a case is on the roll, there can be no more interference at a traditional level. He was addressing the National House of Traditional Leaders in Pretoria. His advice is in stark contrast to the comments he made in the wake of the Constitutional Court's eNCA judgment.
Last week, President Jacob Zuma thanked the Constitutional Court for providing clarity on the eNCA matter. particularly on the powers of the public protector. He also apologized to the nation for how the saga was handled.
The matter has caused a lot of frustration and confusion, for which I apologize on my behalf and on behalf of government.
But a week later, President Zuma has cautioned traditional leaders against putting their faith in the courts.
I would be very happy that we solve the problems, the African problems, in the African way. Because if we solve them only legally, they become too complicated. Law looks at one side only, they don't look at any other.
He's implied that the judicial process is rigid and may not achieve the desired outcome.
The legal people say they deal with cold facts. They are very cold, they are not warm. And I was complaining that, but they are dealing with warm bodies.
Zuma's comments come amid a growing number of calls for him to step down. Narissa Subramani, Johannesburg.
An almost 2-decade-long fight for land in KwaZulu-Natal has finally been settled. Over 200 beneficiaries whose relatives were forcibly removed from the Verulam Mission's lands in the 70s have received financial compensation. The Rural Development and Land Reform Department has handed over vouchers totaling 5.7 million rand.
It's taken Busisiwe Sabela 18 long years to get here. The 75-year-old has been at the forefront of a fight to reclaim land that her family and dozens of others were robbed of.
Our spirits were broken to have to leave the home that you grew up in and see it empty, not knowing who's going to move in. We left a lot of our belongings behind because there wasn't much space where we were going.
In 1998, Sabela lodged a claim with the Commission on Restitution of Land Rights on behalf of the Verulam Methodist Mission residents. It's been successful, and now 52 families are set to receive 110,000 rand each as part of the settlement. The beneficiaries say they've opted for financial compensation as factories and housing have since been constructed on the land.
According to land laws in the 1970s, people had 1 month to leave their homes. Verulam was declared an Indian-only community. Black South Africans had to relocate to Ntuzuma, and coloureds were to move to Newlands.
This land was brutally taken by force from our people. The 1913 Land Act, whose effects we're living under today, was a shameful act.
Government says that since 2014, it's received more than 30,000 claims for land in KwaZulu-Natal. Judith Subin, Durban.
A quick look at world news now, and a United Nations report says the rate of Israeli demolition of Palestinian structures in the West Bank has tripled. Their data shows that from an average of 50 demolitions a month over the past 3 years since January, the average has risen to 165. Israel says the structures were built illegally, but the UN and rights groups point out it's practically impossible for Palestinians to obtain construction permits in the West Bank. Pope Francis has published new guidelines on family life, calling for the Catholic Church to adjust its response to modern realities. The document may call for more compassion within the Church, but does not change Catholic doctrine. Among the most divisive issues the Church faces are offering communion to the divorced and remarried, contraception, and the treatment of gay Catholics. The document is the culmination of 3 years of work by the Pontiff, after consultation with the families around the world and 2 synods. And in the UK, the hunt is on for a toy dog who's gone missing after a group of Lancashire school children sent it to the edge of space. Sam's helium balloon popped at a height of about 25 kilometers and he plummeted back to Earth. Space scientists say the mascot could have come down anywhere in a whole swathe of northern England.
And here's Duduzile with all of your social media.
Indeed, thank you so much, Sandile. And we start with the hashtag IEC. The Independent Electoral Commission says it's ready for the final voter registration weekend. It's the last chance for voters to register to vote in the local government elections. The IEC is urging all voters to ensure that their addresses are correct. Otherwise, they will not be able to vote in August. And in our lead story, members of the Gupta family and President Jacob Zuma's son, Duduzane, have resigned from all positions in the Oakbay group, blaming sustained political attack. And in our poll today, we asked you what you think of that decision. And so far, here are your responses. 34% of respondents voting it's the right thing to do, while 24% say it was a cowardly move, 7% say it's completely unnecessary, and 35% of respondents simply not bothered. Remember to comment on any of our stories. You can, of course, find us on Twitter and Facebook. That's at eNEWSDIRECT, or you can head on over to our website, eNCA.com/direct. Do stay with us. After the break, we've got your business news as well as your detailed weekend weather forecast. Money matters now, and budget airline Skywise plans to take to the skies again later this year. The carrier was grounded in December as it owed millions in unpaid fees. 4 months later, thousands of passengers say they're still struggling to get their tickets refunded.
This is all Ilona Peterson has left of the 10,000 rand she spent on Skywise flights in December. Her children were meant to take part in a dancing competition in Johannesburg. It was meant to be a family holiday.
Our flight was on the 10th, and on the 9th we had to run around for cash to get other flights, emergency flights, to get to our Tambo, because the partner of the children was already on that side. So if we would have stayed here, they would have also lost like 10,000 rand because they went before us.
Peterson has spent 4 months trying to get a refund.
You keep on sending emails, you keep on phoning, the phone lines is off, you keep on, the emails just come back as closed. We actually phoned AXA also. AXA said we can make a case, but to who against? Yeah, so it's actually very, very frustrating.
She's not the only one. Around 80,000 people were left stranded when Skywise was grounded.
90% of the passengers have got the refund. It's only the 10% which were on EFT, and the cash payments are pending, and this is because of the administration delays, because we noticed that there were lots of false claims coming in.
Skywise is confident all passengers will be refunded within the next 6 weeks. Sikelelwa Mdingi, Johannesburg.
Let's see how the markets performed today. Let's check in with the Weather Center now. Here's Candace.
Things remained cloudy and cool over much of South Africa's interior on Friday, but with sunny and hot weather settling in over the western parts, and that fine and hot weather continues as we head towards the weekend. We're expecting a band of high clouds to extend over the southern part of the country, with a few isolated thundershowers over the eastern and northeastern interior. Fog starts off the day over the interior, and overall we're expecting warmer weather across South Africa. You'll see a partly cloudy and warm day along the KwaZulu-Natal coast with highs in the middle and upper 20s. Thundershowers are forecast for Newcastle Newcastle and Ladysmith at 24 and 27 degrees. Partly cloudy over the northern and eastern part of the Eastern Cape. Overall, we're expecting a warmer day, 26 for Mthatha and East London. You'll see high cloud over the southern part of South Africa, with highs in the middle and upper 20s along the Western Cape coastline. Hot as we head further west, though, with Cape Town, Longabon and Worcester all at 33 degrees, and Fredendal at a sizzling hot 40. Still sunny over the western part of the Northern Cape, with some cloud over the eastern parts, but the temperature slowly warming up. Partly cloudy and dry for much of the Free State, with a few thundershowers over the eastern parts, with maximum temperatures peaking in the low 20s. A warmer day for the northwest, with a partly cloudy and dry forecast. Vryburg and Mahikeng both at 24 degrees. We're expecting a few showers and thundershowers mainly over the eastern part of Limpopo. Things remain dry over the western and northern parts, with maximum temperatures mainly in the middle and upper 20s. We're forecasting isolated thundershowers on a mild Saturday for the Mpumalanga Highveld. Rain reaches Mbombela on Saturday evening with a maximum temperature of 26 degrees. We'll also see a slight chance of showers and thundershowers for Gauteng, with most highs in the low 20s. Pretoria, though, warming up to 24. You'll see sunny and warm weather over South Africa's interior on Sunday, with that hot weather spreading through to the southern part of South Africa. On Monday, that hot weather spreads through to the Eastern Cape, and overall we're expecting dry weather with sunny and warm conditions, particularly in the afternoon. That's all from the Weather Centre for now. Have a lovely weekend.
Thank you, Candice. After the break, a young surfer with cerebral palsy shows special needs children how to ride the waves. Welcome back. A young Cape Townian with cerebral palsy is changing the lives of special needs children in his community.
Inspirational story. 18-year-old Ashton Davies has launched a surfing program. Smile and Wave aims to empower children with special needs.
Ashton Davids is proof that living in a wheelchair does not need to dampen your dreams. 2 years ago, he decided to start surfing with his older brother. Now, he's in the water 3 times a week and preparing to compete at the Disabled World Championships in California later this year. But he wants to share the stoke with other disabled children. So he started the Smile and Wave initiative with his sister, Megan Cross.
Well, the whole vision of it is to empower adaptive surfing, because it's just as much a challenge as it is for an able-bodied, for someone who's physically disabled, mentally disabled, and just being able to make it possible. So that's what our Smile and Wave is about.
The group currently meets once a month in Muizenberg with professional coaches teaching the children who have a range of disabilities.
Well, there's different levels of where surfing basically comes down for kids with special needs. Some of them need assistance catching waves. Some of them actually just stay prone where they lie down on the board. Some of the other kids actually do progress to a level where they stand up and they actually become very competent surfers. But
Autism Western Cape says the effect the initiative has had on autistic children has been incredible.
Oh my goodness, they loved it. Just on a sensory level, we find that water calms them so much, and so getting them first used to the water initially and then having the crashing of the waves on their back is such a calming experience for them.
It's easy to see why David's called his initiative Smile and Wave, because every time a wave comes along, he can't take the smile off his face. Amy McIver, Cape Town.
What an amazing initiative. Let's remind you of the day's top stories before we say goodbye. President Zuma and members of the Gupta family resign from Oakbay Investments over what they regard as a sustained political attack. The South African Council of Churches and National Religious Leaders Forum call on the ANC to facilitate the resignation of President Jacob Zuma. And that's our lot for the week.
That's true. Still on the way at Rhythm City. We're back on Monday.
To share your views, you can send us an email to eNEWSDIRECT@etv.co.za.
Or you can just chat to us on Twitter and Facebook, and our handle is @eNEWSDIRECT.
Until Monday night, have a fantastic weekend. Goodbye.